And what is your goal with these? Is your goal to sell them eventually, or to hold them as cash cows to reinvest some of that money into other assets?
Sometimes people, I don't know how you feel about this, but I was told by various people, like, start with a thesis. So, like, what's your investment thesis? And for the first couple of months, we're like, okay, great, we got like this thesis. It's so specific. And do you know how many deals matched that thesis criteria? Zero. There was zero. We didn't buy anything because nothing matched it. So we are like, okay, maybe a thesis like isn't the right word for this. And so we ended up buying like three little things pretty close to each other. And to date, like, I still don't think that we have enough cash to really have any kind of a thesis. We have bought SaaS app, like, let's say there's two categories of SaaS applications too. There's like B2B enterprise SaaS, right? So you're selling high ticket deals to like other enterprises. These are like larger companies, right? These aren't somebody that is like a freemium model and comes and signs up and spends 10, 20, 50, 100, under $100 per month with you. These are like, thousands of dollars per month type of customers. We've
Yeah.
bought a couple of those, and those are way different operationally than these self-serve freemium, right? Where you come in, there's a 2 week free trial and a certain amount convert, and you're tweaking. Those are kind of the knobs you tweak, right? Like, where's my top of funnel? What's my conversion rate to sign up? What's my sign up to paid rate? What's my retention? All that stuff. We have since started buying more kind of product led growth, as it's also called, or freemium type products, right? Those are
Yeah.
much, much
Yeah.
easier for us operationally. And again, we're still trying to focus on like those single promise to the customer. But in terms of finances, there's really not that much money coming in the door on a monthly basis above like our base payroll costs for these smaller businesses. The money comes from sales of these businesses. So if you're really looking to compound capital, I think you have to flip them. I think you have to. I think you have to do that, because otherwise you're going to wait for these things to start cash flowing. And that accumulation is just too damn slow. I think you have to flip them. So we'd like to be more like permanent capital stuff. And there's some stuff I think will hold for a very long time. But our biggest financial gains have come from selling the businesses after we've taken them over, kind of cleaned them up, like given them a fresh coat of paint, and then, sold them on to somebody else.
Yeah, it's great to hear, because people listening may have the ideology, I'm going to buy a SaaS business and just going to sit there and let it just churn out money. And you can do that, but it's going to need work. It's going to need development to keep it maintained, and especially in SaaS, like, keep away the competition. Like, once the competition is like, there's a lot of money in SaaS, and a big SaaS business can just come and squash one of these businesses pretty fast. So, like, I feel like the growth is really needs to be injected quite fast. You don't want to have somebody else come out with a free tool to their SaaS business that is your whole business model, and then you're about to sell it in 5 or 6 months time.
Yeah, yeah. Part of diligence, right, is figuring out like if something were to kill this, what would it be?
Yes,
There's a name for
correct.
this exercise. I forget. It's like a pre-mortem, I think they call it, instead of like a post-mortem.
Yeah.
So absolutely, like, for these, again, single purpose apps, which are quite close to commodities, you could be killed by a feature in a competitor, a larger competitor. They could also just release like a free tool that does the thing. And they're like, yeah, we'll lose 20 grand a month because like that means nothing to us. Right. And they could just kill your
Yep.
business.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to like think about what could kill it. But I think I have maybe a weird stance on competition. I just don't care that much about competition.
Mm.
I just haven't seen it affect anything. Of course, if you are going into a competitive space, what are some of the things you need? Your product has to have like at least the same coverage of features that the competitor does, right? Like, if you only do 1/10 of what the
At
competitor
least, you
does for
say.
twice the
Well,
price, yeah, like,
yeah.
it's not going to work. So long as you have feature parity, you guys both do roughly the same thing. I think we have competitors to like another one of our micro tools, a developer tool that turns like a Google spreadsheet into an API. It's a developer thing. There's a ton of huge competitors in that space, but some people just like us. They like the way the product looks, right? Talk about non-passive. One of the very first people we hired, the very first person we hired full time, was customer support. Because no matter
Oh,
what, even if you think it's passive, right, there's still going to be people with questions. And like you can win so much business by just responding within an hour to somebody's question that they could full well look up, right? They might just be testing you, but it's so nice to be able to just open a chat box and talk to a real human and get a real answer. And
Yeah.
we try and win on simple things like that to beat out the competition. Because somebody might be paying like about the same with us, but they're not going to switch because they're like, oh, well, I could just reach out to like Andrew on the support chat and they always like treat me well. That could be enough for a customer to stay.
That's what you're talking about with product-led growth and also marketing budget. Marketing budget, it's easier, usually cheaper to keep somebody than to find new customers.